assuming that we're going to come back with certain restrictions like a mask, how would that going to play out? How are you going to be able to express your either emotions or opinion almost with a blank face, because you are really covering the most expressing part of your body, which is, this part of your face. So in terms of that, I was thinking, how would those meetings going to be held? Or potentially are the meetings going to be just going to be held online? And if we were to take that approach and just keep those meetings online, how would those soft skills have to be improved to influence other business partners or other stakeholders? You are having to develop different skills that you didn't have to do in the past. I mean, of course, we all have had online meetings in the past, but I don't think they were as recurrent as they are today. I mean, we're even getting online meetings using Zoom or GoToMeeting with family members, and you're connecting with family members or friends. But going back to the work portion is like, how do you really impact and influence all those business partners on online meetings if that's what the new or the new norm is going to be? You're not going to have that.
That's a great question. That's a great question. How do you influence? I didn't really think about it from that angle, but how do you influence moving forward when you don't have the physical? You can't read body language as much. Movement patterns, eyes. It's just a little bit more challenging to be in this dimension that we're in. And virtual reality is not here yet. That might be a solution. A little VR headset, and then all of a sudden, boom, we've eliminated that problem.
That's right. We're bringing back Second Life, huh?
Exactly. So I think there's there's possibilities here that we're not even thinking about. But it's a good point. My mother is a therapist, and she's an older therapist, as you might imagine, because I'm old. And she's like trying to figure out how to navigate the technologies. And she's like, I've turned it on, it works. She goes, but I'm exhausted. She's exhausted. I know that's shared not just with her, and not because she's older, but it's your concentration level is different. You're like, to read and understand and influence, it's just you're using the brain is just not ready for it. Yeah. but also, if we go back to that sort of video meetings that we potentially will have to hold for a long time, it's like, if you think about leading a team, how do you actually motivate and make your presence be present, if, for the lack of a better word, with your teammates or your direct reports? I mean, how do you actually can pass that on into others and keep the machine going? And how do you even stay motivated in your role as well? I mean, we, at the end of the day, are kind of in our little seat here at home. And we, of course, have our own motivations and goals. But how do you keep that going when, the check-ins that you may have with, different parts of the organization or different folks is virtual? It is different. I mean, there is an aspect that I think you will have to consider in terms of, it may not work for everyone necessarily, as you were describing your mother. I mean, it's exhausting. And, in an organization, we may have folks in different stages of their life, and they would have defined preferences as well. And that's something that, you also have to foster and try to be inclusive in terms of that, so you can keep the business going in the way it's always been. Yeah, it's so. Are you anticipating these conversations, or have you talked to any of your peers about how they're going to be rolling out internal meetings, in how they plan on having 100, 200 people in a building,
how do you, is there strategies that have been discussed so far?
We have started touching on some of those aspects. I mean, we know that we're going to have a quite large checklist in order to allow our folks back into an office. I mean, there are certainly concerns that go across the board, but one of them, of course, is the one that you just pointed out, and will be something we will have to flesh out.